If we're struggling in life and we want to solve a problem, how do we go about it? Well, I'd say we go about it through a process of mental transcendence. You mentally, spiritually transcend the very obstacles that you're facing along your physical journey, because there's so many stuff out here that we feel like we have to change or improve or overcome, and every time it bogs us down, it drags us down. It is a hard struggle at times if we don't approach it from the right angle, and the right angle is always spiritually. It means to bear your intuition on any situation that you face in order to receive and attract the most optimal solution into your consciousness. You see, the gateway of intuition is actually the door towards God's cosmic consciousness. So if you believe in God, even if you don't believe in God as well, by using your intuition, you will regardless attract new and better ideas into your mind through which you can transcend any situation that you're facing. Ultimately, through mental transcendence, you can overcome the fear of death, because many people, they fear dying. They fear what it's all about because it's unknown. But the very thing that is unknown can become knowable through intuition. And intuition allows you to transcend the old limiting beliefs of your own mind, the old ideas that are holding you down. Because so many of us are so blinded by the darkness, which is ignorance of physicality, that we're unable to see the divinity within ourselves and everything else around us. But once you see what is divine and eternal, what is the beauty behind life itself, then you'll be able to transcend anything that you're facing, no matter how bad it is in appearances. Stuff happens, we don't like it, then we feel down about it. Instead, sit down and meditate. Open your heart, because that is where intuition resides. It resides in the energy center of your heart. If you can feel the solution in your heart to any problem you're facing, then that is a real solution indeed. You don't necessarily use your reasoning mind in order to figure it out. You also don't really use your gut, this gut feeling that we might have at times. If you go straight through the heart center, you will receive the answers from God itself. You will just feel it through your entire being. The energy of your heart chakra can influence your consciousness, which is your mind. And it can influence your gut feeling as well, which are your human emotions. That is divine feeling. That is feeling the solution out of a problem, the way out. The way out resides within yourself. So in order to transcend your own problems, you have to sit down, learn to relax your mind, and listen carefully to the depths of your own heart, because that is where the answer lies in order for you to transcend the problem. You could ask yourself any question that you want an answer for in meditation, and it will come to you. But it can only become something that you can work with if you are calm enough, if you have stilled the madness and the chaos of your own mind. It's full of thoughts, worries, doubts, limiting beliefs that are blocking the answer from coming to you. But if you learn to sit down and really relax, then you'll be able to actually open up your mind to infinity, which is their answers to all of your problems, and there's no end to the answers. But ultimately it's up to us to really receive them, if that is what we seek. Seek and you shall find. Where do you seek? I'd say you have to seek within yourself, because all the answers you're ever gonna need reside within yourself through the connection you have with God, cosmic consciousness. As a human, you work with a limited human consciousness, you could say, and it is limited based on everything that you've been taught and have learned so far on this journey. But if you want to know more about your divinity and how to overcome all of the limitations of the flesh, you're going to have to open up your mind towards cosmic consciousness itself through the act of meditation. If I sit here and I have a problem, I know I have to transcend it through my own mind. I cannot keep looking at the problem from the same level that it exists on. If, for example, you have this fear of death, I cannot overcome this fear of death by looking at people dying around me. I have to look within myself. What is it in me that actually goes on beyond the grave. If there's anything inside of me that goes on beyond the grave, what would that be? You meditate on that and the answer comes through your intuition. For now, I'll give you a simple answer to that. What goes on with you beyond the grave is your own state of consciousness. And your own state of consciousness is dependent on the habits you've built throughout your physical journey. Have they been habits of divinity? Have they been spiritually divine habits that you have been developing? Or have you been developing habits of destruction and chaos and negativity? Because this is a real issue that humanity faces. Most of the times we're spending all our time with negative things. And then when you pass away from this physical life, your consciousness is completely trained to be negative in a certain way. Therefore, it is very important to spend most of your journey while you're here in developing divine habits, noble habits of mind and spirit, so that is something you take with you beyond the grave. That is how you will generate your own heaven, but it's also how you generate your own hell. The more negative you've been consciously throughout your journey over here, the more hellish the after-death state will be. How do we know this? Well, you can already perceive it when you go to sleep at night. People have nightmares at times. That is a symbolism for being in hell. That is what you could say what hell is like when you die, being in a nightmarish realm. Other times you have wonderful dreams. That's heavenly. That is what it is to be in a heavenly realm after death. You see, you transcend your own negativity by opening up your mind more and more towards God, by allowing God into your heart. And then as God enters your heart, He will guide you through all of the obstacles you'll face. He will give you the power to transcend anything that is currently holding you down by realizing the great unity you share with all of creation. And that all the negativity is man-made, it's self-made chaos that you no longer have to allow into your life. Transcendence means to grow beyond the very state that you're at right now. You're not just a physical human being, even though you might believe that, and many people do. They only see themselves as a physical human being. But you are spiritually first and physical second. Your spiritual nature is that very part that exists throughout eternity. The physical part is just this temporary experience that you're having. The physical realm is a temporary realm. It's transient. It comes and goes. But what is it inside of you that remains forever and ever? If you can lay hold of that, if you can start sensing that within yourself, then you understand automatically how to transcend all the limitations of your physical life. That is when you will start to feel the bliss and unity you share with God, because ultimately that is what it's all about. You came down from heaven into a physical incarnation. And it is our job to return to heaven while lifting up this individuality that we have been given. We came down from heaven, which means from God's cosmic soul, from His essence. You came down and are now an individual. But the individual then gets lost temporarily in all the physical things that are happening, that we're experiencing. We lose our conscious connection with God. But when we reconnect with God itself, then we are lifting up the individuality into heaven. That's the beauty of your eternal life that is in store for you. This eternal life is real, but it's all spiritual, and it happens throughout numerous incarnations. Many ancient spiritual texts have hinted at this as well, that people go through a cycle of incarnating through lifetimes, and then eventually they reach a point where they realize the physical world is not the only thing there is. They start to become aware. You might have started to become aware in your own way. You can sense stuff is greater than you realized. You have visions. You have this inner feeling, this desire for spiritual things, for knowing God, for understanding what it means to be a child of God, because that is what you are. So people think when they hear the term Son of God, they think only of Jesus, generally speaking. But everyone, each one of you is a child of God. But also each one of us initially is completely lost in darkness, which is ignorance. That we're ignorant of being a child of God. We can't remember. We can't perceive it initially. First, we perceive ourselves as a physical human with a physical family, but your mom and dad are also children of God. Yeah, they may have given birth and created your physical body, but ultimately, spiritually speaking, the soul is the child of God. You are a soul inhabiting a human body, but as long as you believe you're only a physical human being, then you can never transcend the problems that occur on that same physical level. You have to go higher, into the divine, into the spiritual, then look down towards the physical, and then you'll be able to change everything around. Then you'll be able to transcend the fear of death, knowing that when the body dies, the spirit, the soul, simply moves on into other dimensions. You see, you have the astral world, you have the physical world. In Hinduism, they also talk about the causal world. They have all these dimensions, these terms, that go higher and higher towards the unity of God's cosmic bliss realm. That's where you ultimately want to go. That is where you feel one with all of creation, and no longer is there suffering, because you're one with everything. There's nothing to suffer about. There's nothing that can make you suffer anymore. You have transcended the whole physical realm at that point, and that is your destiny. But first, learn the art of meditation, learn to quiet the wheels of your mind, and then open up your heart, which is the gateway of intuition. Through the heart, God whispers divine revelations to the soul. I've been shown this in a vision myself, and I've practiced it myself, and I know it works. However, it is up to you to learn to practice it in your own life. I can't do it for you. You have to learn how to quiet yourself, your consciousness, your human emotions, and then the divine feelings, which is God's vibration of wisdom, enter your heart through the intuition and will guide you towards salvation. It will guide you into the light, which is wisdom, and no longer keeps you stuck in darkness, which is ignorance. Mental transcendence is really all you need to learn in order to overcome all the obstacles you'll face in life. Because by its very nature, since it's temporary, it shouldn't be holding you down at all. But as long as you believe you're only a physical human being, you'll also believe in all the limitations that come with it. And therefore you feel stuck. But if you know you're a spiritual being first, that is completely free, and it is a child of God, that is what you are, behind the mask of the physical self, well, then you'll learn to overcome whatsoever you face, and you'll feel joy. You'll feel joy because you'll finally rediscover the unity you shared with God all along.